All right, welcome back to another installment. We're working on the Titan car for a little bit. I'm still having, so let's back up. So the car's running, driving. It is aligned and the exhaust has been tied in. So all those things are done. It's more or less roadworthy. Needs paint, and right now it needs some electrical help. I don't remember how much of this I recorded, so I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. This can be cut out if I don't need it, or it'll be included if I do. So, I randomly found on the great internet, I found a new old stock version of the alarm that is in my car. So what I did is I literally just swapped the brains from the different units for the sheer fact that I wanted to have a fob that actually worked. Well, I shouldn't say that. The fob worked, but the fob was like gaff taped back together. It was a disaster, and that's why I really wanted to get away from it. Now, I knew I had some electrical gremlins. I thought maybe, hey, it's the old unit, whatever. I'm leaning against that now. The more I look at the wiring, the more it kind of makes me sad and frustrated. This alarm, like the date code on the alarm itself was 1992. I'm assuming that's about when it was probably put in. It was probably 92 or 93 at the latest. They used a lot of those like vampire clips, and I don't know what their official name is, but they're a wiretap that you like clip on over an existing wire, and it cuts into the wire. And I think that's what's giving me super low voltage to no voltage on half of the car. I can't think of much else that would cause it, because there's really no corrosion. I went through and I pulled out pins and got everything cleaned up, and everything looks really good in terms of corrosion. However, other things don't look so nice. So I'm gonna show underneath here and just kind of poke around and show you what I'm talking about. But I think what I'm gonna do is, I got my fun little heat and solder connectors. I think I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna replace a lot of the bad looking connectors, those splice vampire clip thingies, and put in some of these. See if that helps. If that solves the issue, we'll be happy and we'll be done and we'll move forward. If it doesn't, I think the next step might be to actually take out that alarm / keyless entry system. That's not what I want to do, but it's what I will do if I need to. So yeah, these are the clips I was talking about. This is one of them that I actually already had pulled out. But yeah, you kind of like straddle it over the wire. It has this little metal clip inside here that crimps down on the wire. I think this one actually doesn't have the wire in it anymore. But you cut into the sheathing of the wire, and what it really does is sometimes it just screws up the wiring itself, in that it cuts the wire too much and not enough voltage can get through it. And yeah, I really think that might be what's going on. I'm hoping that's what's going on, because that's what I'm going to try to fix first. And if that fixes it, I'm super stoked, and we're going to move on to paint and get this to be a good daily driver and get it show ready to take to different places and do different things with. That's the goal. But first I got to fix wiring so that I have brake lights, so that I have turn signal, you know, things like that I think everyone should have and use. Okay, so here's the wiring underneath. You can see there's things like this chopped in. There's speaker wire used for a lot of these relays and connections. I'm assuming it was a speaker shop or a system that did it. I got wires that just have nothing on them. I got wires that, like, so this wire is a blue and white wire here. It's then a green wire, then it's a brown wire, then it's a green wire again. And things like that. I showed that clip. There's more of those clips over here. And there's also one of the main ones is actually under here that is the, I think that's the one that's coming straight off of the headlight itself. So I'm gonna do my best to see what I can do about some of this stuff. I also, at least since I bought the new unit, I actually have the instructions and I have the original manuals that tell me, hey, this wire is for this. And so when I see something like this, I know, oh, well, that should be hooked up to something else. I'm gonna grab those books, I'm gonna take a look, see what's right, what's wrong, what I can fix, what I can't, and see what I can't do to fix this stuff so that I can finally put that panel in and be happy. So that's what I'm gonna work on. Oh, you can kind of see it. So, yeah, I've now used my new fancy thingy. And, again, this is, super windy out. This is just the first one that I've done, the very, very first wire. All this other junk is still bleh. But already, it looks promising. I have a turn signal again, which I haven't had yet. So that to me already tells me that, so prior to doing this, I don't know if you can hear that. Oh, great. Oh, that's ironic. So now my left, so before my right turn signal was going, you know, freaking out. And now it's nice and slow, like it should be. But now my left one's going funny. I can't win. I was super stoked. I was like, sweet. Top tip, always a good idea to take a picture or memorize the wiring order here, just so you have it in case you need to put it back together and you can't recall. Always a good idea. Digging into this wiring situation, my grandfather gave me some electrical connectors and then also depinning tools for Christmas. So we're gonna use that. We're gonna depin this connector. It doesn't seem to be getting power. So I'm gonna try to figure out why. Guess you can't win them all. I got the police spec car apparently. Okay, so the back and forth lights flashing was with the lights off. With the lights on, the lights are actually on. We got markers too. Tail light. Sorry, this is like in the light. Tail light. Tail light. Oh. So, yeah. Apparently, let's try turning the lights off again and see if it goes ballistic. Who knows? Off. Nino. I'm gonna call it a feature. Okay, so I hate electrical. I was worried that a lot of these problems were stemming from the alarm system. I don't believe that at all now. I think it had to do with a little bit of corrosion in the rear from some leaky taillights, and I think it had to do with the fact that it's a Canadian spec car and I didn't know what I was talking about. So I consulted the good book, also known as, oh crap, I just closed it, the Audi Bentley manual. I found in the very back here, hang on a second, let's see if I can pull to it again, and just before it there's a fun little fact that Canadian models is supplied via the ignition starter. The low beam headlights operate at less than their nighttime brightness due to additional resistance in the daytime driving lights circuit. So What I think that flashing back and forth is because it's not getting enough power to actually power both ballasts, and so it's kind of switching back and forth between them, trying to power them both on. It makes sense to me. That's my theory. I don't have a set of spare H1 bulbs, like standard incandescents. I actually looked. But like, this is actually the brights from this that's actually burnt out. Actually, this is that one. This is one I had that was spare, but you can maybe see that the filament is floating around in there. So I was gonna just test it and say, hey, let's just disable the HIDs. Let's put on regular incandescent H1 bulbs and see if they shine dimly. It's kind of annoying, especially since I have the European headlights on here that do actually have a place for a city light or daytime running light. I wish that wire was on a separate wire and I could just run the daytime running lights as a low beam as that actual incandescent daytime running light. I'm going to try to work around or disable the daytime running lights so that I don't have this police strobe effect happening when I'm driving around. But when in doubt, consult Bentley. Consult the good book. It's got all life's answers. It's funny because I asked a few Canadian friends that I knew, but nobody seems to know with the Canadian spec cars what was going on. So Bentley knew. I should have asked him first. All right, my buddy Driggs, he sent me he found an old post on the Audi World forums with some Canadian guys, and reading it sounds like the easiest way to do this is to disable it. Now, looking at this mess, this 214 relay right here that kind of hangs low is the correct relay. However, it's only the correct relay for the rears. The fronts are handled differently. I've actually tried that one. If I pull it, it only disables the rear markers. It does not disable the fronts. So in this post from Audi World from like 2005, it says that there's a, you know, a connector size of a AA battery, blah, 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 blah. Has yellow wires coming in and out of it. I'm thinking it's this one. So the best way to test this out is testing it out. So, okay, we got the police strobe action happening. Let's try unplugging random things and see if it works. Okay, we unplugged a random thing. It appears to have worked. Car's still running, obviously. The regular daytime running lights are still on, but I know that those are actually controlled by the other relay that's down here. So there's that 214 relay that's hiding right there. That will actually disable that, but that looks to have killed the headlight. Let's see if they still work when I turn the headlights on. I guess that'd be an important thing to try out. They most definitely do. So yeah, we're gonna leave that unplugged and we're gonna put this stuff back together so that this car can look like a car again. Okay, let's just film a quick outro for this. So what have we learned? There's a bird that just flew across me here. We did some work. We got the alarm system working properly for now. We redid a lot of the different wires under there, and we found the source of our problem. I'm going to try to include it on this video, so I'll probably delete this, but if not, we're going to reseal that rear taillight. So it ends up, what I thought was one big problem was actually a few small problems. So what I thought was all stemming kind of from the wiring and from that really wasn't that, although some of the wires were suspect and needed reworking. I'm not upset that we did that, but I'm actually glad we did. But the truth is a very, very small amount of corrosion on that rear taillight caused a lot of problems. This car doesn't have a lot of corrosion or anything, but it did have a small leak back there, and that leak caused a lot of bigger problems. On top of that, one of the other things that I had changed was those headlights. I put on the European RS2 style headlights with HID ballast. I didn't realize that the Canadian spec cars use a low voltage signal for the daytime running lights. On the European spec cars, they actually have a dedicated city light. On the US spec cars, they don't have anything. And apparently Canada is somewhere halfway in between. They have a relay that is for the rear lights, and then it has a resistor pack thing that goes for the front headlights. And so that weird back and forth flashing, it was all because of a low voltage signal to those headlights. So we solved that problem. I'm happy that we got it fixed. I feel confident about actually driving it, even though it is already registered now. It wasn't proper, and I felt bad driving it around with like no turn signal, no brake lights, questionable things, and then of course my headlights flashing back and forth made me a very big target. So I didn't feel good about it. So the next step, we're going to get to driving it, and we're going to get working on the bodywork stuff. I really think that that's where I want to focus my attention and my money. We do have another project in the works, and because of that, we're probably going to work on that a little bit more and use the money to fund paint and other things like that. So stay tuned. We'll have another episode about a new car coming up soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.